morning. This is Mayor Valensky with Driving Markets. Hope you're all well. Okay, so anything said in this piece is just an opinion, just to let you know, and that is my warning in advance. So let's get on with it. So yesterday, the impact on financial markets yesterday was the geopolitical crisis of Russia and Ukraine. Joe Biden, who is Sleepy Joe, again came out with a statement that Russia is about to invade Ukraine. That could be the case, but Joe Biden, being probably the worst president of the United States that's ever held the seat of president, is totally unreliable. I've got my personal opinions about him, but let's just focus on the geopolitical. So Russia, they say, is about to invade Ukraine. Right. On Wednesday, they said that Russia is pulling its forces out of Ukraine, and the market shot up. Yesterday, in late afternoon, they said no, it looks like Russia is about to invade Ukraine. And then Sleepy Joe came out with some wonderful statements that if Russia invades Ukraine and its allies, allies in America, they're going to impose significant sanctions on the USSR, on Russia. Okay, so what have you got at the moment? So I'm just watching the road as we go ahead. What have you got at the moment? You've got that is having a major impact across the board on all financials. So yesterday you had a massive sell-off across the board on the tech, which is the Nasdaq, the Dow, the S&P, European markets, the UK markets, and Asian markets were all sold off significantly, on the basis that people sold their equities, or investors got rid of their equities, and they went into the traditional safe havens. Those two traditional safe havens are gold, which is considered a major safe haven, and US Treasuries. So interestingly enough, that even though you've got a background of inflation and rising interest rates, when it came to geopolitical crisis, what have you got? You've got the 10-year Treasury yield, the price shot up, and the yield came down from 2.05 to 1.96. That is a significant drop in the yield, because everyone went into bonds, everyone went into the 10-year Treasury. So all the hedge funds and all the investment funds sold off equities and went heavily into US Treasuries. The US Treasury is considered a safe haven in times of crisis. In times of economic wellness, also the yield on a US Treasury will fall. However, in an interest rate rising environment, you'll have a US Treasury with price will go down and the yield will go up. So you've got two major forces at the moment. You've got the economic force of inflation, backdrop, interest rate rises, and then you've got the bigger crisis, which could be war in Ukraine with Russia, and what impact that would have globally is significant. Interestingly enough, oil fell yesterday 2%, not because I said I think it's the end of the trend and it looks like oil will now be trending downwards because of the volatility. No, the reason why oil came down yesterday 2% is because America, the US, and the Europeans are coming to the most ridiculous fake agreement with Iran on a nuclear agreement, whereby they will have a nuclear agreement with Iran, get oil from Iran, reduce sanctions, and bring Iran back into the international fold. That is completely and utterly crazy, is not the word. So you've got what you've got in effect. You've got the US, which has come to a agreement with Iran, which is just absurd. Iran is a sponsor of international terrorism, and yet everyone seems to be ignoring it. So it just doesn't make sense. But oil, economically, financially, oil dropped yesterday 2%. I'm just driving and concentrating at the same time. Oil dropped 2%, and it's likely to fall further unless Russia invades Ukraine. If Russia invades Ukraine, then you're going to have oil spiking significantly. Interestingly, Nvidia, which is also a semiconductor chip yesterday, also dropped because their forecast on semiconductor and their profit forecast was a lot lower than anticipated. Their shares came down. I've been pushing the semiconductor industry on the YouTubes, thinking that's going to be an industry that's really going to spike, but it's also impacted by economic and geopolitical news, just to let you know. So what we have now is, so things looking forward, going forward next week, you're going to still have the Russian-Ukraine crisis. You're still going to have the economic impact of inflation, interest rates. Markets are going to be very, very, very volatile. As I said, all the time when you trade small and you trade with a lot of money in the account. Just a quick point regarding cryptos. Cryptos also came down yesterday as part of the global concern. Investors sold off the cryptos. And again, there was a flight to safety, a flight to bonds, a flight to gold. That's it for now. If you want to contact me on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp. You can join my Instagram, Valensky Mayer. You can comment on this YouTube. You can like the YouTubes. I've noticed the number of likes is absolutely minimal, so I don't know why no one is actually liking my YouTube. That's it for now. Mayer Valensky, driving markets. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.